My dark horse would be the winner of that Garcia-Arozarena matchup. Garcia is a very streaky hitter, very hot and cold. If he gets hot, I think he could take that through all the way to a championship. Arozarena, high barrel rate guy. I think one of the best barrel rates of anybody in the competition tonight. So when you're talking about batting practice fastballs, if you just barrel them up, you're going to be able to drive them out in a lot of cases. So that's the dark horse, is the winner of that Garcia-Arozarena matchup. But I like Luis Robert Jr. over Julio Rodriguez. We get the great story until the finals when, to your point, we finally get some good news for the south side of Chicago. Corbin Carroll at minus 300. I think some of the rate stats that Elly De La Cruz is going to put up in the second half, if he stays as hot as he is, and who knows, he may be stealing bases during the All-Star break since he's not playing in the game. He just keeps stealing and stealing and stealing. Elly De La Cruz at plus 275, I think, is great value. And Jim mentioned earlier in the first hour of the show, Corbin Carroll versus the field is plus 225 at BetMGM. It's not that I don't expect Corbin Carroll to I guess, not hold on to this lead that he's built up through the first half of the season. It's just that I certainly don't find any value in laying any money on Carroll at this point. If you didn't get him early, then don't take him now. But I look at De La Cruz and I don't see how he falls off other than, again, knock on wood, we don't have it, some sort of injury that keeps him out for an extended period of time.
Right. I think that's the key, is if Corbin Carroll goes down, how quickly can Elly De La Cruz continue his ascension? Because it's been nothing short of remarkable. And also, to a certain extent, that kind of scares me a little bit as well. At some point, this is still a rookie. No matter how magnificent the rookie is, it's still baseball. And at some point, they're going to go through some stretches. And you have to remember, too, once he got the call up, that's when Cincinnati has really taken off. And at some point, baseball goes in all these different ebbs and flows. And if he struggles, maybe so does the team, and that kind of takes him out a little bit. I think we know it's a two-person race for NL Rookie of the Year. I mean, if you look at the odds, the third guy on that list is Matt McLain, and he's available right now at BetMGM for 40-1. After that, it's Carroll and Elly De La Cruz. So I'd rather take a flyer on De La Cruz at plus 275. And the nice part is that if he starts to move up, or Carroll misses some time, then you have the opportunity to jump on him at a better number if you want to hedge it a little bit as well.
Being a Dodger fan, it almost pains me to say this, but I'm almost looking at the Astros, who all of a sudden are about even money at BetMGM to win the division. Now, they've come on late. Texas has kind of stumbled a little bit. Astros within striking distance. Any value on that, on the Astros winning the AL West?
I don't know about now, because right now, looking at BetMGM, they've actually come real closer to even money. I think you just mentioned Rangers, last time I checked, the BetMGM minus 110. So I still think, given the fact that Texas is coming off of some struggles towards the end, I'd probably wait a little bit, maybe until Houston gets a bit of a slow start coming off of the second half, or they get into a streak. I'd rather take a division winner at plus odds when I can. So I don't know if I'm necessarily ready there for the Astros. I also still think Seattle can make a run. I think their pitching is that good. I think their lineup is diversified enough where they're good enough of a team to be able to make a second half run. So I don't know if I necessarily love the Astros as much as you do, even though the talent is certainly there. I'll say this. If we're taking a couple flyers, and yes, there is a Fergie Jenkins jersey behind me, so this might come off as total Chicago bias, but the Cubs at 750 to make the playoffs in a dog crap division feels like it's worth a dice roll, right? Think about how good the pitching infrastructure has been, especially in that starting rotation. You have Kyle Hendricks back to putting up really good numbers over his last several starts. Justin Steele is in contention for the National League Cy Young, arguably one of the best pitchers in the National League since the All-Star game last year. I think they're going to be a team that, if they get the hitting a little bit more consistent, remember, this is one of the only teams in the NL Central that has a plus run differential. And their expected win-loss record is actually substantially higher than what it currently is. They're a team that's due for some positive regression. The problem is that they've been losing close games, a couple late bullpen blow-ups. This is a team that just hasn't put it all together. But I do think there is enough talent there. And then if they are in contention, they're going to go ahead and make a move at the deadline. So I like their ability right now, especially to maybe spend a little bit towards the deadline, make a bit of a run, even though the record wouldn't necessarily indicate that they're really close.
I took the Twins this week. I have the Twins, thankfully. They're playing the A's. They're in Oakland. That's sort of been the recipe for success for me, anyways. Is whoever the A's are playing that week, go against the team that they're playing, because they've been so historically bad, and yet here we are. But I do have 2 strikes, so I got to go perfect the rest of the way. Minnesota, they're hovering around first place. They're at Oakland, so that's what I went with. I don't know if people have any other, depending on who you have, there's some interesting matchups like Cleveland's at Texas. That's an interesting series as well. Tampa Bay's at Kansas City this weekend. The White Sox are in Atlanta, and the Yankees are at Colorado. Those are the series that really jumped out at me. But it is a total shot in the dark, fellas, because it is, other than the Padres and the Phillies, it's a series. You don't have that sort of safety net of, I lost 2 out of 3 in my first beginning of the week. I can get it back by winning 2 out of 3 the next week. It's do or die with this, and I'm got my nails really short because I don't want to bite them, because winning 2 out of 3 against the A's is doable. But then what really scares me is what happens if I get through. Then I'm staring at the A's and the Nationals. I don't have much left on the cupboard.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. Second year of Kenny Pickett. Lots of positive talk coming out of the Steelers facility about his offseason development. It is a huge question mark year for Najee Harris, though. Drafted 20th overall. Lots of talk in the league over the last few years. You never draft a running back in the first round. No. Why would you do that? But he fits what Mike Tomlin and Art Rooney II want the Pittsburgh Steelers to be, which is protect the young quarterback, let the defense make plays, hold on to the football. Some old school, really Steelers-style football. You hate to be cliched about it, but that's what it is. And that's what they expect of their offense, because there's not a lot of trust put in offensive coordinator Matt Canada to necessarily come up with something creative, despite the slew of weapons he's got at his disposal. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. They go out and get Allen Robinson. If he's healthy, he could be a big upgrade at the third receiver spot. Pat Freiermuth as well. They go out and get Darnell Washington out of Georgia, who could be a weapon for them as the season progresses, especially in the red zone. Heavily juiced at 8.5 wins at -150. So, again, a team that the books are telling you is a 9-win team, I think. Yeah, if the quarterback doesn't develop, we could see an under. If somebody gets hurt on the defensive side of the ball, we could see an under. But you have a hard time finding people who are going to bet against Mike Tomlin not finding his way to 9 wins, or at the very least, because we hear it all the time, he's never had a losing season, he'll somehow find a tie in there and get to 8-1. It's just, that is the belief that people have league-wide about Mike Tomlin and his ability to find something that will help them scratch and fight and claw their way into contention as well.